What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Torrence, and in today's video, I know the caption said we were going to be talking about Becca Cosmetics, which we are, but I wanted to go ahead and do my makeup because I'm headed to work and I need to still make sure that I keep content coming for you all. And I believe this should be the last video that I post for Black History Month, but I'm going to try to get one more out. And if for any reason that is, I wanted to make sure that I used a Black-owned brand before we got things finished. And so today we're going to be playing with the Uoma Beauty Allure palette. I purchased all 4 of their palettes recently, and although I asked you all which one is your favorite, I'm going to make sure I do a tutorial on the one you all chose. But the comments were full of people saying, honey, why are you asking when we already know with all the greens that are in this palette, that's going to be your favorite one, that's the one you're going to use? And I'm glad y'all know me because, honey, I couldn't skip over it. I kept looking and passing it by. But once I saw these beautiful green tones, honey, you knew I had to get into it. So if for any reason you all would like to know exactly how I achieved this look, as well as my opinion on the brand Becca, letting everyone know that they're going to be shutting down, just please continue to watch. But before we get started, I would love if you hit that subscribe button. If you already have, I would like to say thank you. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Also, until the end of the month, I do have a giveaway for all of my subscribers. All you have to do is make sure that you go to this video, which I'll leave a link right here. It was my very first video. It's open to all subscribers that leave a comment on that video. You are allowed to leave more than one comment to get more than one entry, but I will only be choosing one winner. So make sure you let everyone know about it. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Baby, let me tell you. I know today I wanted to get up and play an eyeshadow. But it's been crazy because the only thing I've been seeing down my timeline is everybody talking about Becca Cosmetics shutting down. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not ready. I previously did a video, I believe it's discontinued makeup products I want them to bring back. I'm not sure about that title right now, but if you would like to see that video, you can check that out right here. But I'm telling you, one of the worst things about being a makeup lover is realizing that some of your favorite products are going to be discontinued. Even if the brand tells you beforehand that it's going to be limited edition, once you fall in love, you want the chance to have it forever. And unfortunately, with the shutdown of Becca Cosmetics, that means my all-time favorite mattifying primer will probably no longer be available. So I am hoping and praying that even though Becca Cosmetics is going to be shutting down in September, Estee Lauder takes all of their formulas and find another brand to push them through, because I cannot go without this. Y'all see the way this thing look. It is used up, honey. I done squeezed every inch of product that I can out of it, and it's probably just a tiny bit more, but I keep me a backup. I keep a backup of one of these, and the idea of this being gone in September and my birthday is in September, I always ask everyone to give me gift cards or makeup for my birthday, or usually skincare. That's another big one. But I can promise you, I am going to be looking and waiting for any and every store in the world to have a sale on these, because if for any reason this goes on to at least a half off sale, I'm going to blow a bag stocking up on those, because And this thing said what? It has a 1-year shelf life. I know it lasts longer than that, but I'm not ready, honey. So what I want to do today is just get my makeup going. I'm not sure how good this tutorial is going to be because I am getting ready for work, but I just want to talk about Becca Cosmetics because this is one of the brands that I've honestly loved and used, and I'm looking at some of my products right here on the side of me. But when I sit back and think about it, even as someone who loved and supported the brand, I think even I can admit that I saw the fall of the brand coming. But today I wanted to play with the Uoma Beauty's Black Magic Color Palette. This is in the palette Allure. I absolutely love the packaging and design on this. I've never tried anything from Uoma Beauty, but I did purchase all 4 of their palettes when they recently had a 50% off sale during the Ultra 21 Days of Beauty. And it says right here on the back that it is allure is a verb, and it says powerfully attract or charm. And unfortunately, Becca lacked a lot of allure, honey. Powerfully attract or charm. Did Becca have an attraction and did they have charm? Yes. Was it powerful? Truth be told, Becca Cosmetics in my opinion, was known for highlighters. They carried a whole bunch of stuff, but as someone who's an eyeshadow fanatic, like I collect eyeshadows from a bunch of different brands, and I've been wearing Becca for at least 7 years, I don't have a single Becca eyeshadow palette. Not a one. Got about 5 highlighter singles. Got about at least 5 to 10 palettes, but no actual eyeshadow. So today we're gonna use this one. And tell me, honey, this packaging is not absolutely gorgeous. The fact that it looks like the box is exactly what gets me. I cannot stand when the box is decorated and it looks beautiful and the packaging is basic. On the inside, we have 10 different colors here. Looks like we have 5 mattes and 5 metallic shades. With this being green base, you know it was my favorite one of them all. They do have a neutral one, I think it's called Poise, that I want to try really soon. But with it being Black History Month and with green being my favorite, honey, I do believe this is going to be the last video for the month of February. So I wanted to go ahead and test this one out. Before we get started, I want to make sure I give you a close-up view of this palette as well as swatches. And I'm not sure what kind of eye look I'm going to do, but we're going to hurry up, get this out the way so we can get back to Becca Cosmetics, because my feelings is really hurt. And sis, let's get into these colors here. 10 shades, 5 mattes, 5 metallics, and although greens and blacks are my absolute favorites, purples are right underneath there for greens with me for an accent color, but I think I'm going to try to avoid those and just use the matte yellows and the matte greens and a few metallics just to match my shirt and end the month with my favorite eyeshadow color. But now I'm going to go ahead and give you a close-up view of the swatches. And this is a close-up view of the swatches here. These colors are absolutely beautiful. But you know, even though I love indie brands and I love black-owned brands, I gotta be honest with you all and let you know I may be a little bit worried about these shimmers. They felt really easy to pick up and really easy to swatch, but it does seem as if the sparkles that are in here are a little bit larger than I would like. So I am a bit worried about fallout, but the color story here is absolutely beautiful. The first row is on the left-hand side, the bottom row is on the right-hand side. And these colors left to right are shade number 1, Lady of Gold, shade number 2, Divine, shade number 3 is Mystical, which looks like it's going to be my favorite, shade number 4 is Allure. I think that may turn out to be my inner eye corner just because it's a duochrome. Even though duochromes are my favorite form of shimmer formulas, I really like dark jewel tone colors. Shade number 5 is Enchantress. Shade number 6 is Romantic. Shade number 7 is Love. Shade number 8 is Oh Sun. Shade number 9 is Lush. And the last shade, shade number 10, is Opulence. And this palette looks beautiful and I can't wait to jump into it. And as with all tutorials, I'll leave any and all products used today in the video in the description bar below. So make sure you check that out if you have any questions on what I'm wearing. But I want to go ahead and get into these because, honey, I got some opinions on Becca and I just got to get them out because most of my very, very close family and friends don't care about makeup, so I can go ahead and talk to y'all. First thing up is Becca why? The thing is, Becca was started in 2001 by Rebecca Williamson. I believe her name is Rebecca Morrison Williamson. It's either Rebecca Williams or Rebecca Williamson. But even though that brand was started in 2001, which is about 20 years ago, they did sell in 2016 to Estee Lauder. So more than likely it was Estee Lauder's, final decision on whether the brand keep going or not. But as someone who truly, truly, truly loves my Becca Evermatte Primer, honey, I'm just so upset because I'm going to show y'all a few of the other Becca items I have later on in the video, but I don't know nobody that really cares for the brand. We just going to put it like that. The brand as a whole, I think everybody has at least one highlighter from them. Of course, not everybody, but before we go any further, we need to get started on this makeup because I'm going to lose track of thought. So for our transition shade, we're going to go in with this shade here, Ocean. Use that all over the entire eye. Alright, now let's go ahead. We're going to start this on the outer half, and I ain't going to lie to y'all, honey. This shade is powdery, sis. So we're going to hope she give us some good pigmentation. I'm going in very heavy because with someone who has a yellow skin, I'm not worried about how deep or dark this is going to be. But the thing is, Becca Cosmetics was started in 2001 by, I believe her name is Rebecca Williamson, or Rebecca Morris Williamson. But I didn't know about the brand in the very beginning. When I very first heard about them, it was like a lot of other people. It was from the endorsement by Jaclyn Hill. I understand Jaclyn did not create the brand, but for me, she put it on the mark, and the very first item I ever purchased from the brand was the Becca Primer, just simply because I was told that it was amazing on oily skin, but that was all I was ever going for them for. I did not get into any of their other products until Jaclyn Hill told everybody how great their highlighters were and came out with Champagne Pop. Now I know for a lot of people, Champagne Pop was just that girl. She was the eyeshadow to have. It didn't matter, the highlighter to have. It didn't matter what you already had in your collection. It just was not complete without that shade. So when it came out, like many other people, I went out and got it. And I absolutely love the palette because I never bought the single version. Got this one here. To this day, people still try to get this palette up off of me, honey, and I'm telling you, I am never selling it. I'm never trading it, getting rid of it. It is mine to keep. But the bad thing about that palette was the highlighter was never my shade. You got to think about it. Jaclyn Hill is a fair-skinned woman, and I want to just go back in with one more layer on this side just to see how much pigmentation we gonna get. But Jaclyn Hill is a fair-skinned woman, and chances are, if a color is perfect for her, it may be a little too light for me. But that beautiful palette came with 3 blushes, I believe, and another highlighter. And the darker one was called Prosecco Pop. The problem is, Prosecco Pop was way too dark for me. And even if I mixed the two, the color wasn't quite right because Champagne Pop was a peachy pink. I need something with a much more yellow undertone. So I never quite found my perfect highlighter in that palette. And so I started looking and collecting other ones from the other brands. I'm going to go ahead and jump and do this on the other side. And when I come back, I'll finish off with my thought. Baby, first off, can we get into the fact that even though this shade is powdery, I ain't gonna lie to y'all about that. I personally did like to go in with 2 layers just to see what this true color is gonna look like. And I am loving the fact that this yellow has a green undertone to it, sis. In the pan, it looks like you ain't gonna be able to tell. It's like, okay, is that a yellow with a green undertone? Or is that a muddy, patchy yellow? She blends easily, no issues with her, honey. She good so far. So let's go ahead and find ourselves another shade. Next, I'm going to take this shade here, Lush, and use this on a smaller blending brush, lower into the crease. And as expected, there was much less kickback on this color here. I'm hoping we get even more pigmentation because this is a darker shade. But we're going to start on the outer half, and we're going to go into a crease, and we're going to keep on going from there. Okay, yeah, good thing I did tap off my brush because this bad boy is coming through pigmented. We want this as low into the crease as possible, and we're just going to build up from there. But back to Becca, honey. As someone who truly only was looking at the brand to either buy my Evermatte primer or try to find my perfect highlighter color, it just seemed like I was having issues because at first the only thing I was purchasing were collabs with Jaclyn Hill. And the color of the highlighters she came out with were never quite perfect. And so I decided, you know what, Torrence? I'm quite sure with this brand having many different highlighters, you'll be able to find one that you like. And so I started going in, and every time I would go into the store, usually it was Ulta because I lived closer to one. It was usually a little bit harder to drive to Sephora at the time, but whenever I did, I would stop and look at those too because sometimes brands would make things exclusive. Ulta would get certain items, Sephora would get certain ones. Eventually they may merge and bring everything out, but sometimes you had to get one item from there, one item from another store to complete your collection. And so for years I collected limited edition highlighters from them. I remember my absolute favorites were the Light Chaser highlighters. They came out with 6 different duochrome ones. I love those so much that I purchased all 6, and I even have a backup of this one. This is Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini. Absolutely love these. I recently did a video duping the Jeffree Star Blood Money palette, and I used one of those highlighters. If you would like to see that video, I promise you, it's another green look. It's absolutely fabulous. You can check that out right here. Drugstore palette, go ahead and get you one, sis. And I'm liking what we got there, but I want a little more pigmentation before we cut our crease. So I'm gonna go in and do this one more layer. She built up real nicely, but she ain't completely opaque in the crease. And I like to start this off as low as possible. Once I feel as if my blend is beautiful, then I can lift my brush up higher into the crease. And because this brush is so small, he's only going to be able to go up so high, and he won't be able to cover up my transition. So we just want to go up as high as possible to diffuse those edges before we go to the other side. But back to Becca, honey. And so with those light chaser highlighters, it was always easy to just find one that you like, because if I'm going for a pink or a purple or a green highlighter, it does not have to be my exact skin tone shade. And those are the ones that I use the absolute most. My main problem was, even though they had an extensive line of permanent highlighters, none of them were ever completely perfect for me. Their most popular shade, I believe, is either Moonstone for people with a much lighter complexion, but in my shade range, everybody seemed to like Opal. And one of the downfalls of Becca was the fact that they always put the exact same shades in everything. This past Christmas, they did a 4-piece mini set, and this here is the small Opal one. Opal was supposed to be my color, so I'm like, okay, Torrence, we'll get this. It'll give us 3 other colors for the price of one large one. You never go through a full highlighter, so there's no need of paying for a full individual. And that may be one of the reasons why Becca doesn't sell as well as they could, because I think their highlighters are really expensive for an individual one. The packaging, top tier, I'll give them that. But when I think of some of my absolute favorite highlighters, the one I've used the absolute most throughout my life is Oh Darling by MAC. I love this highlighter, and it's so beautiful that this basic plastic packaging does not matter to me. It lets me see the color, so it's beautiful for my freelance kit. But once this is on the face, I don't care what the packaging looks like. It could have came in a metal tin with no packaging, and it still would have come home to me because it was that beautiful. With the Becca highlighters, I never truly felt that way. It just seemed as if they were nice, the formula was beaming, but it was never my perfect color. This is my favorite palette from Becca. It's called the Sun Chaser palette. It has a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter. Inside, I believe the bronzer is Ipanema Sunset, the blush is Apricot Blossom, and the highlighter, once again, is Opal. And before I put my highlighter on, I'm going to come back and show you swatches of some of my favorites compared to this, and you'll be able to see the color difference on this one. Even though I tried to find things from Becca that worked. Like, this is what one of their full sizes look like. This is called Gold Lava. They make beautiful products. Like, look at the shift in that. Look at the imprint. It's a gold, and I believe it has like pink reflective particles in it. So I couldn't use it on the face, but it made a pretty eyeshadow color. And it seemed like that was always the case with Becca. It was never perfect for my face, so I used it as an eyeshadow. But when I think of paying, I think these may be between the $30 and $40 mark for a single eyeshadow, because that's what it ended up being, I stopped buying them. I stopped caring. And the only time I seemed to want something from Becca was when it was a limited edition, vibrant color like a purple, a green, or something like that, or a collab palette. Becca and Chrissy Teigen. This is beautiful, but these are all pinky shades on my yellow tone skin. So I only went in this for this one blush. I wanted, which one of these? One of these is Rose Gold, and simply because Rose Gold is a classic cult favorite, I wanted to have it for my collection, but I'd never use it. And I bought it in this kit simply because I got this on sale. I was not willing to pay full price for it, not even though Not even with Chrissy Teigen's name on it, because she's beautiful, but I'm like, she's not a makeup artist. She's a model, honey. And the worst part about it was when I finally did find my perfect shade from Becca, it was in another limited edition compact, so I couldn't get it every time I wanted to use it. I had to use this one. There was no single of it available, and that hurt my feelings. And in this one, it is called Citrine. I don't even think I know anybody else who has this palette here. It was supposed to be another palette of, you know, wild colors, because where is you going to go with a purple? But this shade here seems to be the most perfect color that Becca has ever made for me, and I can't get it. Anytime anybody asks me, oh, what is that Becca highlighter that you're wearing? More than likely, it's going to be this Citrine one, because it's what I think I like. But it feels bad when you try to tell people about a product that they can't get. And even if I were to go to Ulta right now, all of them would tell me the same thing. Go ahead, use Opal. It's beautiful, but it's not quite right. And to show you all that, what I want to do now is go ahead, do this on the other side, and I'll be back. Because I'm just not realizing, honey, we still chatting about Becca and ain't did nothing on this side. So I'll be right back after I finish this eye. Alright, honey, we got that out the way. I swear, I can get chatty at times, honey. I'll be forgetting that I'm on one subject and jump to another. And because I want to try to hurry up and get through with this, honey, we're going to go ahead and cut our crease now. I don't see no point of doing much, but I'm still debating on whether I want to do a dramatic look. The struggle of being a makeup lover, honey. But while we cutting our crease, what else can we talk about? Oh, yeah. And so, for me, I'm not going to lie to you. Even though I don't have any Becca eyeshadows, I always wanted to try one. It was just that there always seemed to be controversy around them. The very first eyeshadow palette I ever wanted to get was the Becca and Jaclyn Hill one. But upon that initial launch, of course, there were issues with that. So some people got good palettes, some people were saying they didn't. And so the palettes were actually recalled and never launched before I managed to get one. So as a Jaclyn Hill supporter, I was salty, honey. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted that palette, even though I didn't care about the colors because they were neutral and I'm a colorful lover. I wanted to support Jaclyn. And when I didn't get the chance to do that, it just really did not leave the best feeling with me and Becca in terms of eyeshadow. So even when they came out with the other 5 pans, I believe it was like an ombre rouge or something else like that, I just always looked at them and kept saying they're not worth full price. If I couldn't get Jaclyn's, honey, I'm going to get one of those on sale. And even when they went on sale, honey, I never quite went around to grabbing one. It just always seemed as if once I stepped into the store, something else caught my eye, and I always kept telling myself, Torrence, they permanent. You can grab them later. And then other eyeshadow palettes they came out with just never seemed to give me the depth I need. They would have nice like transition shades, but as someone with hooded eyes, honey, I need a deep dark crease shade. I'm just not going to go without it. And those palettes just never seem to offer them to me, so I always skipped them. But I ain't going to lie to you, I still say their biggest downfall was one, they were able to achieve a level of popularity that they could not sustain. Ain't no point in lying. Once Jaclyn Hill endorsed you, honey, that just seems like a meal ticket in the beauty world. Because she got supporters that buy blindly. And I'm one of them. I ain't scared to admit it. If Jaclyn Hill say, hey, I need some money for this, honey, I'm one of those people who gonna give her some. It is what it is. Jaclyn Hill can always get some money up off me. Rihanna gonna always get some money up off me, honey. I don't mind telling you that. And I'm trying to get these even, but sis, right now I'm headed off to work and I don't think we're going to get it as perfect as I want to. So I think we about to go ahead and jump to the next part. And I just said that while still adding a little bit more on this. Don't be calling me out on that either, honey. But once Jaclyn Hill started supporting them and started saying, this is my favorite highlighter. Everybody go grab this. Everybody buy this. We did. But once they let Jaclyn Hill go, honey, they kept trying to ride that wave. And unfortunately, they couldn't put Champagne Pop the way she could. Because once it stopped being her favorite, stop being all of ours too. And just to give me a little more drama, normally I would go in and just do a regular cat eye. I think today we're gonna go ahead and do a halo eye. So we're gonna go back into this shade here, Lush, and we're gonna put that on the inner and outer half of our lids. And we're just gonna pick this up on one side of the brush. We wanna try to keep this out as far as possible because I want as much space as I can possibly get for our lid shade. And, oh yeah, what was I talking about? Jaclyn here. Once she said she loved Becca, we all did. But it was like an ex-boyfriend, honey. Once she called and told us, oh yeah, I don't talk to him no more, honey. He hurt my feelings. We was all like best friends and sisters and cousins. And we don't like him either, sis. I don't even know why he was over there bothering with that man. Like, that was us. And to me, I still say if Becca could have either A, managed to either try to do another round of things with Jaclyn Hill to try to make things better, or B, would have come out with more products and not just banked on highlighters. Because although they came out with foundations and things like that, I never tried one. They have primers, but I only like that Becca Evermatte one. They're normal primers. I believe they come with the pump. I have the lavender and the gold one. The lavender one is not my skin tone, so I feel as if it makes me look ghostly and sick. The gold one is my undertone, but I feel as if it's way too glowy and my makeup slides off with it on top, so I never use that one either. But I keep them because the bottles are pretty. Got them right there on the shelf right now. They'll probably grow mold before I realize they ain't no good no more, because I don't touch them. Only time I go over there to see them is when I want to dust the room and I have to pick them up to clean up the area around them. Other than that, they sit right there. And look at how cute she is, okay? Next, because you already knew, I am a huge fan of greens, and because I didn't know which one I wanted to use, what we're gonna do is take this shade here, Mystical, put that on the center of the lid. Then we're gonna take this shade, Allure, and use that to highlight the center of the lid. Yeah, sis, ain't up on the line. Picking up that shade Mystical, she was a little chunky and she felt a little dry on this brush, but I'm hoping that with this glitter adhesive underneath, she gives me the business. What was we talking about? Oh yeah, Jaclyn Hill, sis. But yeah, I think Jaclyn Hill is what helped put that brand on the mark for real, because they were already popular, they was already going. The thing was, they weren't considered a favorite amongst the general public and amongst influencers until she said something. And although the formulas never changed, so it wasn't bad, just having a good formula was not enough to help them compete in today's market, because you have a lot of brands that make a good highlighter, but what they also do is make good complexion products. They may make good eyeshadow products and things like that. So to try to come out and compete in a world where you say we got good highlighters and that's it, it's like, okay, sis, what else? And then to know that all of the best highlighters that everyone seemed to love from you were the limited edition ones, because those seem like the ones that you put the best packaging on. Those were the ones that had the collabs and things. So I'm like, nah. What y'all should have did was get y'all a bunch of influencers that were willing to collab on a permanent line, so that way you can have their name attached to it and still be able to sell it year round. They ain't think of all of that though. And what I'm gonna do now is take me an even smaller brush, because I want this to be a halo eye, and I'm gonna dip back into that green shade Lush, and we're gonna blend that right across the top of this, because I got my color right here on the inside and the outside, but I want to make sure the deepest part of my crease sinks in. Honey, I got hooded eyes, so we got to fake the funk. My crease ain't really this high, because you see when I blink my eye, you can see it, that fold start down here behind it. That ain't none of their business unless we tell them. We're gonna come back up here and just diffuse that top line like bam, 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 bam. Look at her. But see, with me, a lot of people just try to go ahead and try to cut their crease below that line. I can't always do that, honey. And I ain't gonna always make myself feel bad for doing it, but covering it up after I do it, whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. Look at that. It's still blocked on the sides, still blocked on the top, so it looked like a halo, honey. And I did it in a way that makes me feel more comfortable. Which is what you should do with your makeup, honey. I don't care if a technique works for all 7 billion other people in the world. If it don't work for you, it's just that. And what I want to do to highlight the center of my eye is I don't want to pick up any additional product. I'm going to take the same Morphe M421 brush that I used to cut my crease. And what I'm going to do is just wipe that on the back of the hand to help smudge some of that product back between the bristles. I just want this brush to feel tacky again. And once it has that feeling, I'm going to take the flat end and just pull it straight down the center of the eye. What I want to do is just create a layer of tackiness behind, right down the center, just like that. And we're going to do this on both sides, so when we go back in and put another color on top, it'll really stick right there and be the strongest color we can get. You want to try to clean off as much color off your first brush. And this time, instead of going in with it sideways so we can lay it like this and get a bunch of product, I'm going to turn it to the side on the very thinnest point and use product there. That way when I come down like this, it'll still highlight just the very center. And with this color being a duochrome, honey, you know I'm about to be in love. I wanted to put this all over the eye, but I think this green is going to be dramatic enough on its own. You're going to come right, bam. Because I'm telling you, if you do this without it, it'll still be pretty, but by putting that small amount of glitter adhesive under there, it'll make sure that that color stands out. And I'm going to go back in and diffuse the edges of that, but I just had to make sure that green sticks out like nobody's business. Go back over it one more time. And by just pressing in a little bit harder, the bristles will splay out and help diffuse the edges of that. You see how that looks like a beam of light all of a sudden? That's what we was going for, sis. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I want to go ahead and, I would say finish off the face, but I'm not gonna thoroughly do it. Actually, yes we are. We're gonna go ahead and finish off the face, and when I come back, I'll show you how we'll finish off the eyes. But what I want to do is try to use as many Becca products that I have right here. So I have a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter. So more than likely, I'm going to use these on the face. And when I come back, I'll show you the difference between Opal and some of my other highlighters in my collection. Honey, I'm feeling real cute today. Look at that. So I want to go ahead and show you everything I used off camera before we go any further. And although I did say before I left that I was going to go ahead and use this palette here, it wasn't until I got started with my makeup that I realized, although the bronzer and the highlighter from this palette are full-time items that you can buy individually, I wasn't sure about the blush, so I decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and skip that and use other things. I did use this bronzer. It's a full-time item. Normally, I would just skip bronzer because most of my complexion products are exactly the shade that I need them to be, so there's no need to go in and warm things up. But for today, I wanted to go ahead and remind myself of how beautiful this formula was, and I'm telling you, it reminds me of why I used to wear bronzer every single day. I'm someone who absolutely loves tanning, but because it's not the best thing for your skin, I decided I still wanted the look without the damage of harming my skin. So I have a large bronzer collection. This one here, I didn't even realize I was out of focus. This bronzer here is absolutely beautiful, but because I had it in palette form, there was never a need to go out and buy an individual. So I'm wearing that all over the face. For blush, I decided to go with an individual. I absolutely love Becca blushes. They are one of my absolute favorites because before I got into eyeshadow, blush was my thing. The problem is, I don't consider Becca blushes to be beginner friendly because they are so pigmented. When I first got into makeup, the two brands that I absolutely loved going to for blush because I felt as if they gave me the most pigment were the Becca blushes and I believe the e.l.f. cosmetic ones. But once again, I never felt as if they were beginner friendly because of how much color you get. But today I'm wearing their mineral blush in the shade Hyacinth. Absolutely love it. And you can see how big and bold this color is. But I went in, put it nice and subtly, so you can tell that that color is there, but I did not want to do something so over the top. but considering the fact I'm wearing green and I'm wearing a lot of bronzer which deepened up my skin complexion, I needed to go in with something deeper that would complement because a normal shade might not have shown up. Also from Becca, we decided to go back in and dip into the Becca and Jaclyn Hill palette. I never ever use the highlighters from here, but today for this video I decided to go ahead and do so. 99% of the time if I'm coming into this palette, it's for one of these two pink blushes. I absolutely love pink blush, but this shade here, Champagne Pop, is way too light for me. It's the perfect shade for Jaclyn Hill. This shade here, Prosecco Pop, over all the years that I've had it, I never quite used it because I always felt as if it was just a little bit too dark. Funny enough, today with wearing a bronzer with it, it actually looks really nice. Normally, I always said that it was just a tad bit too yellow on my skin, but I'm sitting back like, honey, you spent all those years trying to make Opal work and it looked like trash to me because the undertone was so pink. I didn't realize if I just put a bronzer on with this one, I could make this work. You mean to tell me all these years Jaclyn Hill knew it was right for me and I didn't? But the thing is, unless it's summertime, I don't see myself wearing a bronzer, so more than likely I probably won't wear this Prosecco Pop again. But to know that they are about to discontinue it, but I still have it in palette form, there's no need to get it in full size. But I'm just glad I got this one because I still got to support my girl Jaclyn Hill. I now have a Becca highlighter that I like a little bit, but I'm telling you, it's still not my Citrine highlighter. The one from this Ocean Jewels highlighter palette, I still believe this Citrine shade looks a little more natural on my skin when I'm not wearing bronzer. But I want to go ahead and give you close-ups. Actually, let me swatch Citrine as well. I didn't even think about that. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Right now my camera is not letting me get a nice view of these highlighters, but I wanted to show you all swatches of the particular highlighters that I have. This first one here is Opal, and it has a much more pink undertone. To me on camera it does look a little ashier than what it does in person, but I think you can tell the difference between this Opal here and Prosecco Pop on the other end. You can tell that this has a much more yellow tone to it. And this one here at the bottom is Citrine. Those outer three are the Becca ones, and you can see how this Citrine has an even yellower undertone than all of them. These two in the middle are the two that I use the absolute most, but they're from other brands. This first one here is Oh Darling from MAC, and the second one here is Fuego from Dose of Colors. And you can see how they fit right there in between these two. It's not quite as yellow as Prosecco Pop, but not quite as pink and cool toned as Opal, and so that's why I like those so much. But with this one here, I feel as if I'm not wearing bronzer, it's a lot lighter than the other ones, so I can use it right there at the very highest point of my cheeks. But from now on, I think if anything, I may just go ahead and start using Prosecco or mix that with Citrine, but Opal, she can go ahead. The other things I have in my face are mascara. I'm still trying out my Essence Lash Princess in volume. I've been absolutely loving this thing, and I think I'm just going to continue to use it until it's gone. And the last part is repeating a lip combo I recently wore. I'm still loving the Straight Living Lip Bar Liner. Absolutely love this thing. But recently I tried out the Peachy Nude lipstick from Juvia's Place. This is in the shade Mademoiselle. It's become a new favorite from the brand. I think I've been wearing this on average about 3 times a week. Can't get enough of it, so I absolutely love this color. But I'm just not realizing what time it is, and I still need to be getting on up out the door, so we want to hurry up and finish off the eyes before we run in late. And just because I'm dramatic and I like doing the most, I want to do the lower lash line just because I know I ain't got time. Wait a minute. I'm talking about doing the lower lash line, honey. I never put any eyeliner on. I wanted to go in with the shade Overdrive. Did I try this one yet? Oh, so I did. Well, let's try something different. I've already tried Overdrive and Mildew from Urban Decay, and what I want to do is try out the color Freak. It's a much lighter green, which I didn't think I would test out, but considering my shirt is a light green, we're gonna jump ahead, put this on, and I'll be right back. Back at it, and I'm here to tell you, although this color is beautiful and it's very vibrant, because even from the camera you can see that I have green eyeliner on here. This is not a matte, it's a shimmer formula, And to me, it does not adhere to the waterline quite as well as a matte would, especially when it gets wet. So although I'm not expecting this to last all day, I really am hoping that it does, because these things are $22 a piece, even though I try to get them on a half off sale. But she looked beautiful. We're going to hurry up, get through. But if this doesn't last all day, I'll be back to tell y'all in the next video. Need to hurry up, finish this eye off because I'm running behind. So what we're going to do is take this shade here, Lush, and put that on the lower lash line with the push liner brush. And then we're going to buff it out with this shade Old Sun and a pencil brush. Alright, now we're going to just take this. I want to connect it to that outer half. And I want to go in with the green first to get a darker color. I want that green to really stand out. And it just feels really weird to sit back and use all of this Becca and realize the brand is really about to be up out of here. And I'm telling you, all of these beautiful complexion products that everybody's going to see, people are going to think my eyeshadow, my blush, all of that is very beautiful. And what they don't realize is the product that I'm loving the absolute most is the one they can't see, which is my primer. Because I am so hurt about this. Literally, I just squirted out the very last bit of this one, so I have to toss it out at the end of this video. And that's just hurting my feelings that much more to know that I'm talking about the end of Becca while using the last of my favorite product from them. I mean, I got a backup, but the idea of just opening that one just sounds so terrible. Go ahead, take this pencil brush and get this going now. And what we want to do, tap off the excess of that, is just use that to buff out the lower lash line. If this does not give me the popping green color that I'm looking for, what I think I may do is go back in and mix those two, the yellow and the green, together. And use that. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. So what I want to do is mix the green and the yellow together to buff this out, and then I think I may still go back in with a little more green, just because I want this color to be popping. Yeah, that green is nice and soft and subtle, but I want it to be a little bit deeper, so I'm going to go in with just the green, a nice soft hand, and just enough to deposit a little more color. There she go. Now we want to go in and highlight our inner corner and our brows. And because we're going to be a bit dramatic, what I want to do is use this shade here, Lots of Gold, on the inner eye corner because it's the brightest. And for the brows, I want to be a little more subtle, so we're going to go into this shade here, Divine. I want to pick up Lady of Gold first, simply because it's the lightest of the two. And we're going to put that right there, hoping that this comes off bright and beaming and strong. And she's there, she's nice, she's subtle, but she ain't giving me the metallic fullness that I like from an inner eye corner. I think if you are someone who just likes shimmer shadows instead of metallic shadows, you will like this palette a lot more. But she's definitely showing up and she's definitely beautiful. She's just not the high beam metallic I was hoping for. And I'm going to wipe this off on the back of my hand to try not to lighten up the next shade. And then we're just going to go in with a little bit of Divine and use that. Ooh, Divine is chunky little bad boy, honey. She going to come in. It look like that's the fold I'm looking for. So I'm going to wipe that off on the back of my hand first and then go in and do it. Oh, yeah. And this shade Divine has a lot of chunky sparkles in it. So I have to go in and buff that out really strong. The sparkles in this are much larger than what I would generally prefer, especially for a brow bone, because it seems like the glitter flecks in here are shining a little stronger than the pigment. But she good enough, so we're going to go ahead and call it that. And wait, what do I need to do? I do have a tiny bit of fallout right here on my nose for my inner corner highlight. Knock that off. Alright, now we want to go in and set everything. It's time to lock everything in place, and you already know how we get things started. Fix Plus to give us a glowy dew. All-nighter, so things last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. I'm going to give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. I want to go ahead and give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And honey, how can we go wrong with greens, honey? You already know, greens are my absolute favorites. I always feel as if they are beautiful, but we gotta be honest with you all. Is this palette beautiful? Yes. Did I have any trouble with it? Not necessarily. Would I recommend it? At the half off price that I got it for. You all know, I love indie brands. I love black owned makeup brands. Even if it's not black owned, I love brands that are geared toward people of color because it makes it a lot easier to find things that will suit your complexion. But if you were to tell me Uoma Beauty now, from now on, are only going to do one formula palettes, which let's say from now on, instead of getting a palette like this where you're going to get 5 mattes and 5 shimmers, you're only going to get one or the other. Just strictly 10 mattes or 10 shimmers. I would be the type of person who would go after their matte formula way before I picked up their shimmers. Are they there? Are they beautiful? Can you see the difference in every single shade? Yes. My thing is, I am someone who either likes an extremely high foiled, high metallic shine, or I like a glitter. It's usually very hard to pull off both, and to me, it doesn't seem like this one would be stellar in either category. You know, like, they're nice shimmers, but they don't give me that shine that leaves me begging for more. And they have some sparkles in it, but they're not chunky enough to be glitters. So they don't throw and reflect the light the way I want them to. So to me, the shimmers are just a bit lackluster. Even if you're someone who just necessarily doesn't like metallic shines, let's say you are just for the satin shades, you only want a subtle amount of shine like many people do. Let's say many older women, many people with textured skin, many people who work in professional settings, they can't use a metallic shadow a lot of the times. You would think, okay, well, let's go ahead with this. It still creates that texture that makes you wonder, is it even worth it? Because up close, you can see it and it looks like glitter, but it looks like either a weak glitter or a weak shimmer. But the mattes, they are beautiful. The only thing I would change about the mattes is the fact that I truly believe that they are a little dusty. And I personally would have wished that that yellow could have been a little stronger, because when I used it on the lower lash line, he didn't give me quite as much as I wanted. So that yellow is beautiful as a transition shade. I would probably just never use it as the main color, but I am really interested in seeing what that poise looks like because it has a matte black and it's much more neutral. So I want to see what those neutrals look like. But this here, you can't tell me nothing about it. And with the face, honey, Becca is showing you why she was so popular over the years. I ain't gonna lie to you, I keep turning my head and looking this way because I had an acne breakout. But I've been promising myself, Torrence, you are not going to pop your pimples or anything anymore, because I did one right here on the tip of the nose a few weeks ago. He left an acne scar. So these two right here, they get to stay rent free until they gone. They are going down, but you can even see, like, compared to this side, everything looks really nice. My bronzer, my highlighter, my blush, it's all beautiful because Becca makes amazing products. For me, they no longer have the support of the influencers the way they used to. Especially Jaclyn Hill. To me, she was the backbone of their support system, but without her, it just, I don't recall Jaclyn speaking bad on the company. She just stopped speaking about them altogether, so that just stopped being as much publicity. And to me, they just kept trying to push the exact same products over and over and over and over again. We all know every brand has their cult favorite. You have brands like NARS, who has Orgasm. You have Pat McGrath, who loves her Rose theme. Stila has Kitten. So, I mean, every brand has their cult classic item. but this brand just seems to rely on it way too much. And even when they came out with new items, to me, they just seem to be too expensive for what they were. But the items I do have, I absolutely love. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's gonna take a whole lot for me not to start looking up old Becca eyeshadow palettes simply to have one in my collection before September gets here. But I'm not gonna be paying extra or anything like that. If I can't find it at retail price or lower, I'm just gonna skip it. But I hope you all truly did enjoy today's look and today's video. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below if for any reason you have items from Becca Cosmetics. I don't have any eyeshadow palettes from them. So if you all have a favorite that you recommend I try to find online, please let me know what it is. Because as of right now, I have no clue on what will be the best eyeshadow palette. And my personal recommendation, if you wanted anything from Becca, I truly and highly recommend their blushes. I also recommend the Becca Evermatte if you have oily textured skin. If you have dry skin, avoid this at all costs. Also, their highlighters are absolutely beautiful, but I truly do recommend you trying to find them in store or someone who already has a shade that you believe will be complementary to your skin tone, because at $40 a piece, you do not, well, $38, you do not want to be purchasing things and having to take them back and constantly exchange them. But it is a beautiful thing that they are still located in stores, so I would check my Ulta and my Sephora if I were you to see if you can get those. But I need to be heading off to work, and I want to hurry up and show off this glam, honey. It just still sickens me that I have to put a mask on because this is my new favorite lip combo and no one gets to see it unless they are watching my videos. But you all watch them and I hope you all have enjoyed things. Make sure you also, if for any reason you want something from Becca, honey, sign up for the emailing list because I'm quite sure sales are going to be coming through. But I've been talking long enough and it's time to go. So I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.